Hi, this is Shu with a review of the LeBron 19. This is Space Jam colorway. We will see a lot more colorways coming up. The retail price is pretty high. I think it's over $200 or close to that, wherever you may be buying that from. And here in Korea, it is that expensive. For size US 9, it weighs about 545 grams, so I think that's one of the heaviest shoes we've had so far, even for LeBron. First of all, the Air Max in the heel. It feels very similar to the Vapor Max Air Max. So if you try that, it actually compresses immediately, flattens every corner that you're landing on. So it's not as good in terms of overall protection or impact protection or shock absorption as the LeBron 17 or the 18s in terms of the Max here. I felt the 17s were a little bit the PSI might be a little bit high. I thought the 17 with the zoom air at the core worked out nicely in terms of the PSI and the zoom air. Here it's just Max Air, Vapor Max type of Max, as you can tell. And these tubing, it just compresses so quickly. And it's not that high off. The good thing is the moment it compresses, you feel like you're lower to the ground. But then the bad thing is the moment you land hard on certain pinpoints, you're going to feel like it's kind of getting flattened and you feel your foot kind of being imbalanced. And the forefoot has seemingly visibly lower profile zoom air, which is max volume zoom air all across, but it just feels like a lower PSI max volume air instead of zoom air. It feels there's a level of levitation. I guess you're high off the ground as much as the thickness you see here. It's not compressing as easily as you step in it. There's no stepping comfort for this zoom area. If you compress on them hard, yes, you feel a little bit of it reacting, but it feels like a softer Max Air, softer, thinner Max Air instead of a zoom air. It has a midsole is Cushlan, but it doesn't seem to complement the overall cushioning very well, not as well as the 18s. Even though they have these chambers that connect the zoom air from the heel to forefoot, you don't feel that actually circulating or moving like a DMX cushioning or some previous 90s zoom air models where you have the heel and forefoot zoom air separated but connected with the chamber and you can feel the air moving back and forth. You don't feel that here. So it feels like maybe this should have been on the heel and a thinner version of the Max Air should be on the forefoot. It feels lopsided. If you try Vapor Max cushioning and you probably reach the conclusion as I have, it's not exactly great in terms of stability for the heel for activities like basketball. No, not a great idea. Yeah, the outsole is wonderful. The nodules kind of remind you of the Kobe 10s. They feel they are a little bit more durable than the Kobe 10s, depending on the material. Because every time with Nikes, the different colorways, the different rubber compound that's used, they show you very different levels of traction. So you're gonna have to listen to all the reviews out there from different colorways and whatnot. That was especially true with the Zion ones. Different colorways had very adversely different level of traction. But anyway, this is the kind of traction pattern they would like to see in the future for most basketball shoes instead of lazy herringbone pattern that doesn't work. As you can see, there's this exposed zoom. There's a thin sheet of plastic here, but it's not carbon, it's not thick rubber. So if you have this phobia of stepping on something pointy and puncturing your air sole, never wear this outside then. But for me personally, whether it's some degree of exposed zoom air or air sole, if you walk around, eventually you get it punctured. If you're destined to get it punctured, you wear it for years. If you're destined to wear it for years, sometimes air soles just decompress and lose air, regardless of how well you maintain them. So there. The outrigger is wonderful. This is the thickest, most grandest, beautiful outrigger that you've seen in the LeBron series to date, I think, because most of the time LeBrons, they're as high off the ground as this one, but they had like very minimal outrigger, if not no outrigger at all. But this is definitely an even bigger, thicker outrigger than the ones we had in the 17s. We did not have any on the 18s, so that's a big improvement. The upper material is kind of a plasticky, I don't know what you call it. It feels like nylon-y, plasticky kind of material, but it's flexible and it's not exactly breathable. The toe box area, it's not crazy high off. It's like most LeBron's shoes, they had a lot of excess toe box space, but compared to that, relatively it's lower and it fits better to your toes or the top part of your foot. Width-wise, it's not crazy wide. But I guess if you have really narrow foot, you might even want to go down half a size, but otherwise I would say go true to size. There's this air sole here. It's if you use those Nike backpacks with those air tubes on your on the straps, you realize they don't really do much. They're more for show. Same applies here. The heel cuff is there to get the job done. Really solid and nice. A nice little Achilles padding there. The tongue, yes, definitely not as bad as the 18, where it just bites, where the lace loops just bite into your foot and completely cuts off your circulation. The worst part, I think, one of the bad parts about the LeBron 19s is that, see these parts? Can you see how sharp or rough they are? Maybe if you file them up or coat them with something, it will be nice. But if you just wear them as it is, if it's skin to plastic, you're gonna have, can you hear it? Yeah, it's not good. You're gonna have a lot of a lot of things forming on your socks. You're gonna have a lot of scratch marks on your ankles. So yeah, you might want to do something about that. Fortunately, it's like malleable plastic TPU material, but still, man, why did you guys have to do this? So yeah, all in all, unbalanced cushioning, firmer on the forefoot, soft in the heel, way too soft in terms of pinpoint landing or compression. Outsole, excellent. Outrigger, awesome. Price point, ridiculous.